me to brag. I don't care, but I want you to know, double vaxxed, booster, flu shot, and I'm going to be honest, I have the shingle shot too. And I still get my period. What? Yes. Traveled, went to Mexico twice, did shows, meet and greets, never got COVID. Clearly, Jesus loves me the most. Seriously. So nice, so nice.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Truth Tuesday, second half. First half's over on Lisa's channel. If you haven't seen it, you can head over there and check that out. Make sure you hit the like button and the bell for notifications and subscribe. The video is pretty funny. It's a lot of people talk about how she basically was like, the Lord can strike me down, and then it was literally instantaneous that she got a.
Was she not faking it?
No, she said, she was like joking, Jesus loves me the most, and then bam, she went down. It was
it just looked very fake. Like she was very dramatic about her going down.
Yeah, no, she was actually it was traumatic because she could be dying.
She seemed to be breathing just fine.
But it was she was out, man. Which was pretty funny because she was like talking, crap about all her some jabs and whatnot, and then all of a sudden,
her righteous jabs.
Yes, it was a very righteous indignation about everything and other people that weren't that into it. So
there's other people that get real self-righteous about like the crypto markets and the they're so safe in the bank and Wall Street and all that. And then when you start finding out like that Wall Street has been facilitating the, trafficking of children all these years and creating these funds for these, people to make all this happen. Like it should all burn to the ground. Like Wall Street should go away and every fund that's in it. And I will have no remorse for any of that. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I get real, I don't know, personal on you here in a second. But it was a hard fall. She did hit her head.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, you can't joke up. She wouldn't show her face here, dude. She wouldn't show her. Oh my God, you don't know. But yeah, actually, Mamie's been very sick. Her whole family's been very sick. Same for us. It went around my kids. Everyone had it, but not me. Not me with taking my Shilajit.
You guys take vitamin D. Everybody take vitamin D. They're showing more and more studies about it preventing all kinds of stuff.
I got my kids the low dose of it, and they started taking it. And Ted, he would get sick a lot. He's been around a lot of people. It hasn't been that bad.
I've had Cannon taking it every day, and he didn't get any of the great infection.
I take 10,000 units.
Yeah, we're all really vitamin D deficient.
You should take 5. Normal people should take 2 to 5. But I have a bad deficiency, and then that and potassium. And it's so hard to get potassium. But bananas have like 2% or 4%. It's like nothing. Things that are rich in potassium, they don't have that much. It's just there's not a lot of it.
I need to send you some New Eden and have you try New Eden just for like 1 month and see how it changes your.
Yeah.
I'll send you a bottle, and if you'll do it for just 1 month and see how you feel, if it helps you with your.
Tom, I don't go outside, man. I honestly don't go outside much at all. I really should, but I don't because I don't. And then But I was working from home before it was a thing. Like people didn't know it was a real thing, and I used to supervise people from home, which was weird. Yeah, that thud was hard. So there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about today. A lot of things I've been thinking about. And there's, what was I going to say? Oh, and go personal. What was I going to go personal about? It has to do with my mom. But what was the comment?
We were just talking about, I don't know.
Y'all
I'm
remember
sure you'll
when I
think
said
of
I could get personal about it? Oh yes, you were talking about exposing. And then I said, I hope that I hope the Jews or the Zionists get exposed.
There's a lot coming out about that.
There is, and there's people that are demanding this stuff come out. Things are shifting, and that's something that America was founded when it was first started. It was all about doing the right thing. I talked about this on World Blockchain Roundtable, and it's weird that people don't know that this happened. I was born in the North, and my town specifically there was a 18-year-old, a 19-year-old captain who got a ship from the newly formed Navy. So the United States Navy was formed to kill pirates, to kill the Muslim pirates who ruled the seas. And we're a brand new nation, so we go out, and it was like Tripoli, Monaco, and something else. Morocco, and the one next to Morocco. Anyway, they're like, hey, you have to pay us. It was like $500,000 a year or something. And the United States was like, no, we're not going to pay you money. And they're like, oh, then you're gonna go after your ships. And Britain, Spain, all the big countries who had navies, there wasn't a lot of countries that had navies, they paid the pirates off because it was cheaper than fighting them and losing the ships. It was literally just like a math thing. It's like, hey, your people are gonna die, our people are gonna die, you're gonna lose ships, we're gonna lose ships. It's gonna cost you like $3 million or $2 million a year. Give us $750,000.
Let's just do the math on this. They became an insurance company.
So everyone did it, and the United States was like, no, we're not going to do it, and we're all ready to go to war. That's a fun story. We're all ready to go to war, and then because of how our country is, that president was voted out. He had a new president come in, and that president didn't want to go to war and wanted to talk about paying him off. So we just made the Navy. Congress passed. It was like $100 million. It was one of the biggest numbers ever. And they created the U.S. Navy, but we're not allowed to use it. We're not allowed to go. It's like, why do we want to start a war? We don't want to upset things, blah, blah, blah. So they sent someone over to start, a negotiation. And they're like, well, now it's not 500,000. Now it's $1 million. And so it was basically, this is a coup. So the Navy and the vice president was the former president's best friend. So he's like, man, you gotta go kill these pirates. You gotta take, you can't let him do this. So the vice president gets with the Navy and it's like, look, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna load a ship up with a bunch of treasure and presents, and we're gonna say we're gonna go over there. So he tells the president, we're going to send these they're not shahs, but these sultans or these people that were kings of the country. We're going to give them all these gifts and we're going to try and negotiate. So he was like, okay. He said, but we have to be able to defend ourselves. So he was like, yeah, okay. So they load up this boat with stuff and then they send it over, but he sends the letter on a slow ship. So the last thing they knew, because this is, the late 1700s, early 1800s, things take weeks or months to get to. So the last thing all the pirate ships and all those countries knew is we were going to war and we're going to kill you. So his idea is as soon as we show up, the pirate ships are going to attack us and then we're good to go because we can defend ourselves and they won't be able to kill them. But then the pirate ships see the Navy and they run away. And the vice president gets worried. He's like, shit, what if we land there and nobody messes with us? We'll have to give all this treasure and gifts and be, terrible pussies. So they did some, oh, no. Was this the beginning of the Marines? They took some Marines. This was the first special op that ever happened. So was it Tripoli? So the Prince of Tripoli, it was a king, and then he got overthrown by like his cousin or his brother. So then the rightful king was in the next country over in hiding. So this admiral gets with him and says, hey man, that's your country. You should be in that country. But it's so terrible that your brother took over and threw you out. Let us help you. What if we give you, and it was like 12 Marines. It was not much. And like a couple soldiers. And he had some loyal soldiers with him. So they attacked the biggest town on the border. And they took it over like within hours. And then they send word to the Sultan, hey, your brother's coming back, your cousin's coming back. He's got the United States military behind him. You're totally screwed. So then the war started. But basically, we destroyed their navy, and our ships were so big that there'd never been any ships like that before. They were so huge that they could barely get close to in their ports. But there were so many guns on it that they could be used as a stationary fort. And we bombed the crap out of the port cities and the capital that they surrender. And to this day, Tripoli is the oldest treaty that we have that is still in force with the United States is from Tripoli. So
really,
yeah. So then but the other countries were part of like this, like an empire, Ottoman Empire or something, where they're like, hey, we won't just surrender. We got all these other people backing us. We beat the crap out of them. We sunk all their boats. We destroyed. These people had ruled the seas for hundreds of years, these pirates. Mm-hmm. And that's how the world worked, is that they ran the oceans. And literally with the United States, just because it was the right thing to do. Because they were like, hey, you can be okay and, screw all this up, the rest of the world for this much money. And they're like, no, we're going to kill you. We're going to spend a buttload more money. We're going to have people die, but we're going to do what's right. We're going to free the world from your tyranny. And we did it. It was one of the first things the United States ever did that kind of set the tone for, oh, this is a completely different country. That's one of the things that made us the best country in the world, is because we did things because they were right. And we don't do that anymore. We do things for money, but if Israel does terrible things, we're like, well, they're our ally. And we can't do that. If England does terrible things, they're our ally. When Assange exposed us for war crimes, England, everyone should be like, oh, that's terrible. We're not going to support the United States. That's not what we do. We're good countries. We're the good guys. And we need to get back to being the good guys and doing things because they're right. And not just with we denounce that, or we think that was wrong. Say, hey, we're not going to be your friend. I'm not a friend to someone that I know does terrible things. I'm just not going to be their friend because I don't want to be friends with someone like that. Mm-hmm. And we need to start doing that as a country more. But getting back to the exposing, this was like the late 80s. Remember Jim and Tammy Faye, and what was the real huge guy with the glasses? And he got exposed for having an affair and like screwing lots of women. Jerry Falwell. Yeah.
Jerry Falwell. Mm-hmm.
So the U.S. Church, which is not the Catholic Church.
Yeah, like, that all come out too.
That was all like a Tele-evangelist. All of that was the biggest thing in the late 80s. And what was that 700 Club, all that was like, that was what the country was. And it upset everything, screwed everything up, just like with, the Catholic Church and all the pedophile priests and all that. And my mom, who's is a reverend and a doctor in theology, she was having like a bad time. And like at our church, people were like, "Oh, we're under attack." And it's hard to say you're under attack by the devil when the leaders are the ones doing stuff. You know what I mean? You're like, is it really an attack, or And then
well, but that is how spiritual warfare, like.
But my mom, she said she had a vision from God because she had a lot of turmoil with it, and she was talking to God, and she said, how are we going to survive with this? What should we do, and how do we fix? He said, you don't fix anything, And she's like, well, look at everything that's happened. And she said that God told her, who do you think exposed y'all? Who do you think showed the world what was going on? It's like these people were doing things in my house, and they were leading my flock and doing this. She said she was like, oh, that makes so much more sense. She had so much more peace because she knew it was supposed to be, it has to be exposed. You can't have that. So I'm hopefully that stuff does get exposed. And I know that's where they're going to be, opportunists. They're going to say, those people are all that way. And, oh, maybe Catholics are all, no, Catholics aren't that way. It's the thing about, religion and just power in general.
I think it's the thing about the power, the elites at the top, whether it's the FBI, the power people at the top of these organized religion groups. It's that, what's the saying? Corrupt power corrupts all, or ultimate power. I don't know. I'm a terrible quoter, but there's some saying about
absolute power just
corrupts all, or corrupts. Absolutely, yeah, something like that.
I left my energy drink in here from like 2 days ago, and this room was warmer than the other rooms in the house, and they were all in my energy drink. And now they're flying around everywhere.
You're swarmed.
I am.
You're swamped.
Okay, so let's get into this.
It's going to be a hell of a ride. That's for sure.
Do you know about toxoplasmosis?
No.
Okay, well, a few years ago, a pretty good chunk, like 10, 12 years ago, there was this disease called Toxoplasmosis, and it was affecting rats.
Okay.
And this is before I was a conspiracy guy. But so Toxoplasmosis it messes with animals' minds, and the first thing it takes away is their instincts of fear. So rats weren't afraid of people, but rats weren't afraid of cats. That was the weird thing. There's all these videos when the internet was brand new about rats going after chasing cats, and the cat would turn around, kill it. But and then because it was very similar to when people take the bath salts from back then, and they were like zombies. So that's Toxoplasmosis. Now there's something is coming out, spreading all over the United States. It's called zombie deer. Have you heard of that? Zombie deer is huge now.
So that was on that movie. Oh God, what was it called? The Leave the World Behind or whatever. The zombie deer would come stare at the people. Remember?
No, you saw zombie deer. You saw zombie deer. You saw the movie. I didn't see it, but I wanted to.
Well, I just ruined it for you.
No, yeah, but there's something about the movie that you didn't know, and I didn't know until recently. It was a big thing. I was like, oh my God, I have to tell Lisa that. It was like Charles Schwab directed it or something. I mean, it was something, not Charles Schwab, Klaus Schwab. It was something crazy. It was some like nuts thing that neither one of us knew. Like you wouldn't have watched it if you knew.
Well, they say that it's the Obama's movie.
Yeah, the Obama
and Big Mike's movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they've been gone for a while, so I don't believe any of that.
Yeah, but they've been gone, and who's running Joe?
The same people.
It's very, very interesting. Every president since Washington was the president and then left the Capitol. You know, the Capitol didn't used to be this weird independent state. It used to be in Philadelphia, but left the Capitol after they served their term. They left the Capitol, went home to whatever state they're from, except for one president.
Trump, who went to the winter.
Obama.
Well, Trump went to his winter White House.
Where's that?
Or the summer, is it called the winter White House or the summer White House? Mar-a-Lago is
Mar-a-Lago is a hotel. He did not go to any White House.
You don't know the history of it.
No, there's only one.
There's a history. There's a whole history behind Mar-a-Lago, and it was meant to
be
the
arguing
summer.
With me for? Wait, there's no reason to argue with me about anything.
I will argue with you about it because I know it.
That's not what I'm saying. There's only one capital. That's in Washington, D.C., and there used to be Philadelphia. And when any president finished their term, they left and went home. The only president who has stayed is Obama. And he said before, there's no way he would try to be president again or do anything again unless, and this is so weird if you find the video, unless he could get a little place in Washington and have somebody run everything and he just tells them what to do. He actually said that like years ago.
I saw the video.
So, and that's literally, he's the only president in history to stay in the Capitol after he was done.
He may not have been able to leave.
Whatever it is, he's there. And it's very weird. And it was probably running the show with Joe. So, Toxoplasmosis, rats, all that was years ago, which may have been a plan for something. Now, the jab may have been a plan. And this is where I'm starting to get really conspiracy theory, putting on my tinfoil hat. So the zombie deer outbreak now is very similar to toxoplasmosis. It puts holes in deer's brains. Mm-hmm. It takes like a couple months to up to 2 years. And the CDC and everyone's kind of pushing that 2 years, as kind of more of the normal bar, but it's not. It's like up to usually. But it can take just a couple months.
Did you watch Dr. Michael Neal's interview on Steve Bannon?
No.
Okay, so he wrote a book about this.
About zombie deer?
No, about the drugs that they were testing this on rats, and they created a drug, and it basically like gives you Alzheimer's, and that's what they were doing.
Well, see, that's so now we're talking about the toxoplasmosis.
The jab.
Toxoplasmosis does the same thing, and we did it to rats. But it takes away the biggest thing is it takes away the instinct of fear. So that's what this new it's called like wasting disease or something when it comes to deer, elk, anything in that family. It affects moose, and squirrel, but they're not just mooses and deers. But they're not scared, so they come right up to people. They're not scared of people. They're not scared of predators. So you're gonna die. Mm-hmm. But then they also look like zombies. They don't eat, so eventually they die. So that is spreading huge, and everyone's talking about that. People know about that, and people are talking about that. But the thing that people aren't talking about, which I found out, is that Gates a couple of years ago did a huge vaccination program on all wildlife, because that's not super regular. That's not looked at. That's not alarming to people. So a lot of the things that they would try to push on us that people push back on, they put in the food source, which is all of these wildlife. And where these outbreaks started, federal land like Yellowstone and other places, and it spread crazy. 33 states now have reported it. There is some crazy videos. chronic wasting disease. That's a problem. It is. It's crazy. I don't know where that Seeker side video is from, but it's 33 states now, or 32. But wouldn't it be like the most diabolical disease to infect humans with, to where they're not scared of things they're supposed to be scared of, so they would die?
That's what this video of this interview.
But yeah, it makes sense.
That there's a thing in your brain that it looks kind of like a seahorse, and it's and it gets like it's like the fluoride wasn't working fast enough to numb us down and get us to be compliant.
And I don't know who said it in the group that I want you to eat meat. Literally, this targets hunters and people that eat meat. It's like the people you would want to like. I said this when COVID first broke out. It's like, wow, it's weird that it tends to kill off all the old people, who are some of the only people who remember, like, when people had a lot of the freedoms that a lot of people just don't think, like, since before Patriot Act, like adults from the 70s, 60s, even if you're only like 25, in the 70s. So you're an old person now, but, or, if you were a young adult in the, late 70s, early 80s, you're in your, later years, but you're voting and you remember how things were supposed to be. But University of Minnesota, I believe, they came out with a report that says that it looks like this can be transferred to humans rather easily. So it's not a matter of just like mad cow disease, not a matter of if, but when. So this is a terrible, terrible. That is true. Let me get over here. I remember that CDC had an apocalypse, like what to do for a zombie apocalypse. They had step-by-step stuff, and it was very odd that it was on the CDC website.
It's also listed on the Great Awakening map, so it's interesting. So
I thought it was a very, very odd thing, and all the little connections to it. How the Gates Foundation did all the vaccinations of wildlife. How it reminded me, I was talking with my Asian son. He went to school for IT, and he was telling me about how IT people hate the Internet of Things, like, so much. And I didn't even think about it, and then I was like, it's because of the security. He's like, yeah, people don't. I was like, yeah, I know. Because people worry about, my phone, or even, my Wi-Fi, this or that, but they don't think about their fridge, or my friend Lee, the gifts, his light bulb, his Wi-Fi light bulb. As soon as he puts it in, he can hear Russians and Chinese people talking on it. And people, you think he's crazy because he's really gets upset about it. then he'll put it in and put the microphone up there, and it's clear as day. Because not a lot of people know this, but you can, like, a microphone or a speaker is also a microphone. It's just
Right.
the same stuff. So it probably had a microphone in his Wi-Fi light bulb, which there's no reason to have that. But and then now
That's
it's
why they invented Siri, right? That's what I had heard, was to cover up the reason that they put microphones or speakers in all the microphones.
Now I remember the first time I saw Alex Jones, and I didn't know who he was. And he was on, that Pierce Morgan guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a British dude now, but he was on CNN. He had a show. I was young. I was really young, and like probably 22, 20 something. And I was watching this guy, and Alex Jones was on the show. I was like, oh, who's this fat guy? And then he was saying stuff about this in the United States and rights and Second Amendment. And I was like, wow, this guy's pretty sharp. Yeah, I like this guy. He's all right. And then Pierce said something to him, and he was like, you lying bastard. That's why you're lying. And he went, Alex Jones. I was like, oh, what a fucking nut job. I was like, why did he do that? He completely was winning the argument. And now it's like a psycho man. And it was the first time I ever, watched him. But then I knew who he was. And I watched something he said that was like, this is a long time ago. They went and got 20 or 50 cable boxes. Maybe it was 100 cable boxes. If you don't know what those are, when you had cable, you used to have a box, and it went into the wall, and you could watch your cable on it. And they took them apart. They opened them up, and out of them, like 30% of them had microphones.
Wow.
And he was like, "What reason is there?" And then they like went to the different. There was different cable companies. They bought these like used. Some of them are for parts. They're like, "Why do you have microphones in these cable boxes?" And they're like, "Well, we don't have microphones in cable boxes. That's silly. Why would we have?" And then they show it to them. Yeah, they said, we're doing this investigative piece, and most of them came back and said, "Oh, that's for a future upgrade. That's just so we don't have to do a hardware thing in the future." I mean, if you buy, like, look at an old Sega Genesis or Nintendo, there's little, little things you could open up, and there's plugs that you don't know what they're for, and those were for stuff that they would upgrade later on, maybe.
Oh,
or
okay.
Or something, you plug it in, and then you could do more stuff.
Okay.
But it's rare, because if you're going to do a major upgrade or something, you usually come out with a new system, like a whole new cable box. So it was, I'm sure it was BS, and also you would tell someone there's a microphone, especially back then, about privacy. Sure. It was
back when we had HIPAA and things like that.
Well, we still have it, but
we don't. Yeah.
That's one of those things, like, we have it. It's supposed to be this way.
There's no enforcement.
Yeah. I remember
laws with no enforcement.
Just getting blood. I'm like, can't you just take my blood here, man? They're like, no, you have to go down here and go behind these curves. Like, just do it here. You're here. I'm here. Come on. And after now, nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit, because you can call us like, hey, man, you can do this. You can do that. Just take my blood here. Don't make me go down there.
With kind of that in mind, I have a question for you. If so I got signed out of one of my bank accounts, and they sent me an email and said, we signed you out, we logged you out, and now you have to log back in. And to log back in, I have to sign new terms of service. I have to agree to new terms of service on Chase to use the Zelle app. And so I refused to do it.
When I worked for Microsoft, I asked someone, like, what if somebody refuses to do the terms of service that everybody signs? He's like, oh, they can't use their computer or whatever. And I'm like, but it's their computer. They bought it. It's just an operating system. He's like, oh, not only that, we'll go and disconnect every single thing that's connected to their account, their Xbox, their phones, anything that Microsoft account is connected to, will turn into a paperweight.
Wow.
I'm like,
so they did that, and then literally the next day, I get a call from Cannon. He was at his dad's and he's like, can I tell you something? Something happened with my YouTube channel. He's been waiting. First, we thought it was 12 that you could have a YouTube channel. Then we found out it was 13. So he's been waiting and waiting and waiting and wanting to have a YouTube channel to be able to show his building his connects and doing his things and all this stuff. And he gets to have it for like maybe 2 months. And then literally the day after they kicked me off of Zelle, I get this, I'm admin on his and control all the stuff on his, account because he's a child. Even though YouTube says he's old enough, I'm his mother and I'm the boss. And they send me this email and it says that they've changed their whatever and he's now not old enough.
That's weird.
So
my nephew, Tony's son, had a channel when he was 11.
So it was 13 as of last October. And now as of January, like I think they sent the email 12th or 13th or something. They said he's too young.
Did they say he's 14 or?
It doesn't say. It just says you're too young because of your age.
See, I don't think they can say it has to be older than 14. Because in Texas, at least, 14 is an adult for decisions for contracts.
Says financial advisor. Your account has been disabled because you have a birthday indicating you are not old enough to have a Google account.
A Google account?
Mm-hmm. That's what it says.
Oh, like an AdSense account.
No, like a Gmail. He can't have a Gmail. He can't have a YouTube.
Hold on.
He can't have anything.
Computer, how old do you have to be to have a Google account?
From answers.com. You must be at least 13 years old.
13 years old.
Nope.
Well,
I'm looking at it.
Well, it can't be anything over 14 because 14 is contract age. So they can't hide unless there's adult stuff like nudity and so which there's not on YouTube. So I don't know. That's
just
weird.
So crazy.
But my nephew signed up himself, did it himself. It was all under his name, and he was 11.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like.
But that was years ago. You're saying
like 3 to 4 years ago. I mean, it was just literally him sitting there playing like Minecraft or it's Fortnite. He played Fortnite.
Yeah.
He still that's what he does.
I just wonder if that's going to be like, like that movie that you haven't seen yet. They didn't have a blackout necessarily. Like the power worked and all that. They just couldn't get on Wi-Fi. They couldn't.
What was the deal with all the Tesla cars?
They all like went on GPS and started running out of the city and crashing and stuff.
Okay. He was all just Teslas, I saw.
Yeah.
I think a lot of stuff that's just an attack on Elon, because it's obvious that WEF, they really don't like him. Really, I was going to play a video of them where they're like, so he's the champion or the guardian of free speech, but we're the guardians of free speech. And she said that this is like this is the president of the European Union, who's not elected, but she's the president of the European Union. And she's like, we're the guardians of free speech, and we have to protect people from misinformation.
Well, it's like that reporter that said, but it's our job to tell people what to think.
Yeah, they literally said that. That should be such a what? Is this the one?
Do you think they will let me live in Montana?
That's my cool meme video that I made.
Sneak a drink.
I know I have it. Here it is.
And I think that the dangerous, edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts, And it could be that while unemployment and the economy worsens, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job.
Yeah, if you look at the issues, Yamisha's right.
And that is our job.
The indignation. It's like a drug dealer that calls the police because someone stole his drugs. You know what I mean? It's just so ridiculous.
Oh my God.
I watched one video. It was like, I think last week, where this woman was called the cops and was bitching. She got my drugs. And he's like, "Are you serious? Are you freaking?" That's how Boy George got arrested. He was so stoned that he called the cops because someone stole his heroin.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
So I heard that speaking of the Weffers, I heard that Bill Gates announced his needleless inoculation. He's so you don't have to be afraid of getting poked. Maybe that's how he inoculated the animals. I don't know.
Well, there's the way that he was looking at, that he admitted to, and they're talked about. You still get poked by a mosquito.
I'd heard about that, but this is supposed to be like no needles.
But
I guess the spray like they did years ago.
Or you're there and you're like, yeah, I give it, and was like, I want it. But if it's a mosquito or it's just in your food and you don't know about it, that's really fucked up. That's terrible.
Without consent.
Yeah, that's like, what's the difference between like a date rape drug? I mean, you're giving something to someone against their will. Mm-hmm. And mosquitoes. There was some interesting stuff on chemtrails that are in Europe now, which they used to be in the United States real bad. And I'd never seen them in Europe. I didn't think about that. Growing up, Italy, Germany, wherever, there weren't chemtrails.
Really?
And not till I came to the United States. And I just thought it's military jets. That's what you see flying. That's what it was. I was told as a kid. So, there's not a lot of, no one has as huge of a military. Mm-hmm. So that's what I thought it was. But then this guy said now the skies are covered with chemtrails over there. And that really got me thinking. I was like, there was never any chemtrails there.
There too, huh?
It's something else I want to talk about, but I'll play this last video about this.
When I first heard this story, I thought this is not real.
Right.
But there is a zombie outbreak of sorts happening across Indiana and Southwest Ohio.
Yeah, the term zombie deer actually refers to a disease that causes the animal to act a little strangely. And WCPO 9 News reporter Jessica Hart shares the moment police officers ran into one of these deer in Coleraine Township.
Yeah. He said it's called EHD.
It's got pretty bad road rash on the other side.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. That's what I was telling him on the way down here. The zombie deer there.
That's what he was saying.
Yeah. You probably didn't believe me.
Well, you said zombie deer. I was like, well.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, yeah. Stay still, you can't see it. I laid on the horn and everything, and it wouldn't budge. I was like, oh. Yeah, I know if it's like, it's like green or light. If he's got injuries, he's not going to be able to make it up.
Yeah. It's nuts. You see, I was hitting my horn, everything, that they, no fear. They just stand there. Now this, they said it was EHD. And then they had some specialists come on and they were talking about that it's not scary at all. It's normal. The other one was called wasting disease. So they're different things. And then the CDC even called it a virus. And then other stuff I saw, it's not a virus. It's not a virus. There's no virus. It's like a bacteria or something. So they're different stuff that I was hearing on it. And one of them, like this guy there, the expert there said, oh, it goes away in no time, especially after they're dead. But other stuff that I've seen, it can live in the ground for years in soil. And get picked up later on, but all of them, like I said, they all originated from government land, from like national parks and stuff, which I think is a very telling thing. And also the people that are involved, with vaccinating them against stuff just did this like a year before this huge outbreak now. But those are things that journalists are supposed to be like, oh, let's look into that. And of course, no one does that because there's no journalism anymore. There's just a privately owned propaganda thing.
Very scary. Very scary.
I'm sure they shot it. It's like just standing there.
It's suffering. Yeah. They said it had road rash. It had been hit. Yeah. So I hope they did. It's terrible.
And that's the thing, Jim. I think that this disease is meant to kill on a lower level, even if it doesn't make you turn into a zombie or whatever. Just the basic stuff is to kill people's spidey senses. Just like Lisa's kind of hit it on the nail on the head. The fluoride wasn't going fast enough. This is like next level, where people like us that are like, that doesn't sound right, or oh, I didn't see what you saw. I saw something. That's to dumb us down. It's very weird, very, very weird. And I want to get you guys' thoughts on it, and I thought it was just very, very.
It's strange. That's the first I'd heard of the deer.
I've been seeing,
but kind of glad to see it because I know it was popping up in a lot of data. And
I've been seeing like trail cameras from like just regular folks. These white eyes where they're like cataracts, like in dogs and stuff. But they look like zombies. They're like cuts all over them, and
oh, how terrible.
Yeah, very, very bad. But another thing is this.
Dang, can somebody cut Tom a break? The poor guy.
What?
Somebody stole his taillights and
oh man, jeez,
all kinds of crap. Like
$1,000 deductible. Yeah, that's why me and my neighbor are at odds, because my son, my older son Nicholas, he was like, used to let him go out and start the car, but it was was it? It may have been a standard, but I don't know. I don't remember. This old van we had, we started it and it rolled backwards across the street and cracked the dude's taillight. So police, he called the police, and the cops are like, look, man, I'm going to have to give you a huge ticket for letting your son drive the car. So I didn't let my son drive the car. I was supposed to start it and let it warm up. And they're like, and then he told the dude, he's like, I don't know if the insurance is going to pay. He's not an insured driver. He's a kid. So
it still should be covered.
So he was like, they didn't do anything. There was no accident report. So he's like, just pay for me to have a new light. So I go on eBay with his vehicle, and it was just cracked. I buy him a new light. Give him the light. Here you go. I'm sorry. So, and then I think I gave him like $100 to just 4 screws. It was nothing. And then he put in a claim that I hit his car with his insurance. And there was no police report, but he got something from the police, just like the card or something. So he sends it in there, and then he tells them. So then my insurance company calls me, and they're like, you let your 14-year-old son drive your car? And he was like, whoa, no. So they paid him, I think it was like $1,500 or $2,000.
Oh my gosh.
The rate skyrocketed. And I was like, why are you? I said, you're such a dick. I was like, I bought you this, you wanted more money, you should have just tried to extort it out of you or something. But yeah, he was like, I didn't call their insurance company. Like, yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did. Because it wasn't me. Yeah. This is weird. Okay. So many strange things. Oh, somebody sent a check to Team Mighty for end of year for a donation. Well, that's very nice. Yeah.
Very
nice.
I told you she would wear a mask if she came on. Well, she's a very
better not wear a mask.
She's a very beautiful woman. She's very self-conscious, but she's very pretty. She has
wear a Sean mask.
She dyed her hair recently. She's a strawberry blonde, like normal. That's her regular hair color, which is a really nice hair color. She dyes her hair, but she dyed it dark, and she hates it. And she literally said she dyed. She told me she dyed it dark so that she could cut it off because like no one will let her just cut her hair. But she always looks really good when she dyes her hair dark, and she doesn't want.
I bet it looks good for winter. Yeah.
Yeah, cherry black. She did it once before. It did look good. Oh, I have a picture of it when it was dyed really dark. As a matter of fact, let me find that.
Oh Lord, he's gonna out you, Bambi. I'm sorry.
That was probably 15 years ago or something. Yeah.
You're a terrible friend. Don't post her picture without her permission.
No, I think I did it on my Facebook or something. But it was like my family photo album, you know?
Yeah.
There was like hardly any pictures. Like, why are you putting that picture of me up there? Blah, blah, blah.
Too funny.
All right. I think that's it.
That's a lot.
I really talked about the zombie thing and all the weird connections.
That was very weird.
Oh, you know what? I know what I need to do. Yes, there is other things I want to talk about real quick. But I'm going to probably use you to do it because you're going to show stuff. Cliff. This is the owner of this electric car. I reposted this. Oh, that's right. I did repost that. I got to go. Okay. So, this actually goes along with what we're talking about. Here, Lisa, you want to share stuff for me? Private chat about the zombies. Do you know where Kingston, Philadelphia? You know about that?
Mm-mm.
It's part of Philadelphia, which has always been synonymous with drug use. Always been since I was a kid. But there was weird drugs. There's weird drugs that are only there. Like a lot of them have veterinary drugs in it, like horse tranquilizers and stuff like that. But the thing is, everyone calls it like Zombie Town, because people just are like standing on like that dude. There's hundreds of people like that dude. They're alive and awake, but they'll stand there for hours. And they're not just regular homeless like sleeping like that. They're standing there, just all like it's weird. If you just watch some videos about the Kingston, so
like they're catatonic or something.
Yeah, I thought that was odd about Richmond next to Kingston. Yeah, in the 1980s, it was similar too, but then it was heroin. So this is one thing that I did want to talk about. I'm going to send this to you. I think we should have a quick conversation on this because I sent you the link because people it's detrimental to the good people. Now I got stuff on the Jamie Lee Curtis. She deleted her post with the naked child stuffed in a box that she has on her wall.
What?
Yeah. Fine, well, I'll show you that. Yeah, she did an interview, and right behind her, she has in her house, she has a picture of a little kid, naked kid, shoved in like a tote or a box. And it was. Anyway,
my God.
So this, if you can play the sound.
Wait, where do I go to private chat? Or you wanting me to play the sound of this?
Yeah. So this policeman ran over.
Oh my God!
Ran over these protesters.
Oh my God!
Just ran over the shit over them. And
oh my God!
People are like, "Oh, is this justified?" And if you scroll down the comment,
oh my God! Fuck! Holy fuck! Oh my God!
You can mute it. Scroll down, look at the comments. There. First off, right there. Do you think it was justified? Yes or no? I click no, and click no. See what shows. Click Click whatever you think. Click it.
I mean, I don't know what's happening there. I'm not going to click yes or no.
There's a cop running over a bunch of protesters. Which, scroll down though.
Are they protesters?
Yeah. So click on whatever, and it'll show you the results. The results are like 80%. That yes, it's great. And all lives splatter or whatever was up there. All these people are like, yeah. I commented on it, and I was like, no, it's definitely not. Because first off, it's a cop. And, I think cops should be held to minimal the same. I think they should be held to a higher standard because it's like their job. Their job is the law, to know the laws. I got pulled over because I was at the train tracks and the things were down. I was sitting there. Cop was in the Family Dollar. And then the things went up and I drove over the tracks. He pulled me over. And he's like, you know why I pulled you over today? Which that's illegal in some states to actually ask that. And I was like, you thought I was cute? You want to get my number? What? And he was thrown for a minute, but then he laughed and he said, no, you went over the railroad tracks before the things. I was like, no, the things are up because the things weren't totally up. They were almost all the way up. And but the train was passed and they were up. He goes, yeah, it's against the law. And I was like, really? He said, yeah. I said, I had no idea. He said, you have to wait until the lights aren't flashing and the thing is straight up to where it's completely stopped. And I said, I just thought you had to wait till the train's passed and the thing was up. I didn't know there was any kind of like set in stone law thing. He said, yeah. I was like, I didn't know. Now I know. And he's like, okay, I gave you a warning. That was it. But he knew that, is my point. I didn't know that. I knew that you can't go around it, but you have to wait till the lights are off and it's completely straight up. Even if it's, 90% up, if you move, it's against the law. I think the police should be held to a little bit higher of an account. They never are. But if a cop, and I've seen this, I think this is totally wrong. I'll tell you, I think it's totally wrong in a lot of instances. I understand the law. I think it's viable in some, but not in a lot of things I've seen. I've seen kids that were joyriding that were being chased by the police, and they bumped the police car because they're running. And as soon as they spun out, cop gets out and just boom, 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 blows his whole gun into him, kills him. They didn't do anything. I mean, they did. They just, were joyriding him, but they didn't attack him. They didn't have a weapon. But because they touched the car with their car, that's considered deadly assault or, attempted murder, deadly assault with a weapon because it's the car.
I wouldn't say that I have enough information to say whether this is justified or not because they start the video right as he's taking off.
Right, but you
don't know what's happening. You don't know.
People, but they're just people around the car. So the police.
You don't know that. You don't know what one of them might have in their hand. You don't know what's going on.
But still, those are a bunch of innocent people around him. Even if
you don't know that.
Yeah, I do know that. There's a bunch of people. If someone had a weapon, that's someone. That's not all those people. So if you touch a cop's car or a cop with your car, they can use deadly force on you automatically, right away. So to say that this is okay.
I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying that there's not enough information there.
I'm just trying to make a point.
To say.
It's opening the door for tyranny because you're saying that's allowable. That's fine. If you think it's okay, then that's I think it's wrong because it's I think my comment was if you're saying it's okay for the goose but not the gander, I can go look. Let's see what I wrote.
I couldn't even find your comment.
It opens the door for tyranny because you're saying that the police can do something to you that you can't do to them. Should I put my comment right? I know where to get my comments from. But you know what I'm saying? If you touch the police with a car, just touch them. Bump them. They can legally use deadly force on you. It's fine. So for them to be able to just use,
I don't think that's accurate. I thought they were allowed to I thought there was some standard or something in their stuff that it's they can return equal and whatever force. And
right.
So,
but if you touch them with a car, that's attempted murder with a deadly weapon. they can now kill you. If you touch them, that vehicle, that's why they're allowed to, because of what you just said. So I don't think it's okay if that's the case for them to be able to do that to people who don't have a car. They're not in a car. I said, no, if any American touches a cop or a cop car with their car, then deadly force is authorized and frequently used. So to allow the gander to break the law against the goose is inviting tyranny. So yeah, I think it's wrong, and I think a lot of the point I wanted to make is that you've made the point when you were talking about they're not allowed to say this, and I'm like, but that's regulating speech, that's hurting free speech, that's opening the door. That's like everyone hated Alex Jones, so when we take him off of YouTube, it's okay. We're not going to take everyone. It's not going to get worse. It's not going to take regular people's pay, just him because he's the worst. And everyone. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people, Rogan and some other people were like, no, because you can't be allowed to attack people's rights. Once it's allowed for everybody. So we have to watch out for that. You can't get happy or think, well, we can let this happen for our side because then we win. Because if you let evil do anything, even if it's for your good, eventually it's going to be used against you, and it's going to be used for bad. Which those people were like, yeah, you hate the protesters, and they're fucking dicks. And the protesters hitting art in the Louvre and destroying $1 million art and stopping freeways and stopping people from going to work and ambulances from getting people to hospitals. It's all terrible, but you can't just kill people because they do something that's bad or it's against. It's annoying. That's what I thought on that. The other thing was, you want to know the Jamie Lee Curtis thing? I didn't. It's odd that you didn't know this. So she did a video, and then she had this. I don't know what it is. She apologized for something, but it wasn't for the picture, because there's not much you can say about the picture. It's terrible. Here, I'll send you that link and then try to read the chat, because I'm going to read the chat. You see Biden say that George Floyd's death was a bigger deal than MLK's?
No.
Yeah, because he said that it didn't have the impact on the world like Floyd's did.
I don't know about
Go play in the middle of the road. It's funny. Remember that.
This is this seems like, Jamie Lee Curtis is not sitting in this picture. It's a picture of her and then a picture of a picture.
That's her house. Yeah, she could show it. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So she deletes the Instagram post showing a photo of a naked child stuffed in a box. What was it? Let me read. But she's not. I'm still waiting on Jamie Lee Curtis to stop hiding information. Come on, X. Answer my questions about this. Where was it? There was another thing about her that here we go. Jamie Lee Curtis involved in child trafficking. The rest of her. Oh, that's weird. And I'm attracted to her. She's in a bathtub that's full of black shit and naked. Yeah, that's a weird picture, man. But it's sad to think about her being one of them. One of those people.
Mm-hmm.
Geez, y'all are going nuts in the chat, man. I stand up. My right speak friendly. Yeah, there you go. I watched. It was some fake game show. They're like, "What do you hear at football games?" And it was like F. Joe Biden and other stuff. It was pretty funny. Maddow said some crazy things after the Iowa caucuses. What was it? Too many white.
Doing like throwing fits and
yeah, they're all throwing fits.
and stuff.
She said that there's too many white evangelical Christians there in Iowa, and then she said, and she talked to like some professor or something before they won the show, that the country only has 46% white evangelical Christians, and that Iowa has 64%. So it's totally not the way things are. And then she just started talking about Trump's a puppet, and he's being pushed by the people that are going to try to take over tyrannical stuff. But it's so, people don't get it. They've been saying this for years about him, but literally all the stuff they said that he was going to do has happened under Biden, with, certain rights being taken away, attacks on free speech, the stuff about the lockdowns, all things that were literally, they said that he was going to do, or
World Wars.
now they're talking about like, oh, he's going to do it. Like, dude, y'all already did it. We already went through it.
Yeah, we're just waiting on World War III.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's sad. It's like it's like, as a woman, when you're pregnant and it's terrible and you hate it, and remember, like, probably the first time you were like nervous and scared because there's going to be a person coming out of your vagina, but you get so miserable that you're like, oh God, just let it be over.
Just let it be over. Yeah,
get it done. It's like, oh, I know it's going to be so rough, but that's how I am, at least, about.
Yeah, I think everyone's at that point. Everyone's exhausted and done with the show.
I know people I care about are probably going to die. I might die. But dude, just let's get it done and start rebuilding and fixing stuff.
Yeah.
Just so tired of.
I'm ready too.
People saying
I know my mom's in the chat and she's ready too. So
yeah. Hey Nana, good to see you.
Good to see you, Nana.
All right. Well,
I gotta run. Cannon's home.
Yeah, we've been
go feed that boy, but love to everybody. Hang in there. We're close. It's got to be close. Hyper novelty has arrived. You are right, Mom.
Love you guys. It was good hanging out. I love you very much, Lisa.
I love you too, Sean. You're a dear friend.
Did you send my present yet?
I have not sent your present yet. I'm a terrible friend.
I'm really wanting.
I love you very much.
Get that? I know.
It's right there.
Okay, I'm looking forward to getting that so much, and I'm gonna put it on my channel.
Okay. Yeah, I have it recorded. It's on my channel too. If you guys want to go.
You saw I was gonna go look, but I'm gonna put it to MP3 and then.
Oh, cool. Yeah. It's
So
the
I have
JFK Memorial album. And then I got. Did you guys see my new pickup? I got a Queen or Lady Diana doll. Memorial doll.
Yeah.
She's porcelain.
I think you say Queen Amidala. I was like, really?
No. No. All right.
Check out Bitcoin Friends because there's a new episode. I love y'all. Remember to hit the like button.
See you Thursday.
Subscribe if you're not subscribed. You guys take care. What are we gonna go out on?
Something good.
You'll think that's annoying that Biden's sexy thing.
Ugh.
That was. Yeah. All right. No, the market's been going crazy. Let's do this.
I guess this affects them.